And now to thaw out King Zora. But first, I have to equip the bottles of blue fire. Alright, here we go. I love how the blue fire only melts the red ice and not the ice that's on the ground. Well, there's no getting rid of that ice, so don't even try. Now before I talk to King Zora, there's still the matter of the shop that's frozen solid. Sure, I don't have to defrost the shop, but I'm gonna do it in case I want to buy something. Oh yeah, I should mention that in the original Ocarina of Time, the boss of the ice cavern was a white wolfos instead of a stalfos. To me, I don't consider a white wolfos to be very challenging, since you saw how I dominated those things last video. So yeah, I'm actually bursting with enthusiasm at the thought of fighting a white wolfos as a boss. And as for that stalfos last video, yeah, sure, it did get a bullshit hit on me even though my shield was up, but still, I think a stalfos provides a better challenge than a white wolfos. Anyway, I just equipped the prescription since I'm going to present that to King Zora, but not just yet because since I rescued him, he's going to give me something for it. And that something happens to be the Zora tunic, the item I mentioned towards the end of the last part. So, with the Zora tunic, you can stay underwater for as long as you want, and you won't drown. So that piece of part I got at the end of the last part that was at the bottom of Zora's fountain, you can now get it since you can't drown thanks to the Zora tunic. And the item describer is calling it a diving suit. I kind of have a question about that, but I'll come back to that some other time. Okay, does he say anything else? Princess Ruto went to the water temple. Well, lucky for me, I'm not gonna follow her there just yet, and not anytime soon. Okay, now you want to present him the prescription for the eye drops. So he's saying that technically they do have the eye drops, but it's more like the ingredients for it. But I have to take the ingredients to the scientist at the Lakeside Laboratory at Lake Hylia. Yeah, you know, the same guy that was watching me dive in the pool of water? Yeah, that guy. But I have to make it there in a certain amount of time before the ingredient goes bad. And this ingredient happens to be this thing, an eyeball frog. Gee, Froggy, what big eyes you got? So, I have 3 minutes to take this frog to the scientist at Lake Hylia. Oh yeah, if you tell King Zora that you can't make it, then he'll say something pretty interesting, like, so you don't think you can make it? Well, the way there isn't that far if you can go by horseback. So that's practically hinting that you need Epona. Otherwise, I don't know if this is even possible without Epona because I never once tried this. Oh yeah, you're probably going to ask me why don't I just play the Serenade of Water to get to Lake Hylia instantly? And the answer to that is, well, the game kind of sees that as cheating, and if I were to use any warp songs of any kind, then the Eyeball Frog is going to immediately expire, and I'll have to go back to King Zora and get another one. Well, actually, I don't know if that last part is true or not, because I never once deliberately played a warp song to have the frog go bad, and then go back to King Zora in hopes of getting another one. And seeing Mito back there kind of reminds me of something. Ah, shut up. In the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time, when he blocks your pathway, he says something pretty interesting, like, if you want to see Saria that bad, I'm gonna need to prove that you know her. Something you could only have heard from her. So he's indirectly mentioning Saria's song. In this game, he makes no mention of it. Well, I can imagine that people playing this for the first time might not know what to do at the time because, well, Mito doesn't mention anything about that. So, whoever it was that thought of the idea of having Mito indirectly mention Saria's song in the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time, good on you, because, well, if I were to play this game for the first time, I probably might not even think of playing Saria's song at the time. Okay, so I'm coming up on a couple of fences that I have to jump over in hopes of making it to Lake Havia. Hopefully I managed my carrots properly because looking back at what happened at the obstacle course in Lon Lon Ranch, yeah, hopefully I managed my carrots properly. Okay, we're coming up on the 2 fences, so hopefully I do this correctly. Alright, here we go. 1, and 2. Alright, good. As I said before, I did go horseback riding years ago, but I've never once done anything like this. Riding a horse while the horse jumps over various things. I don't know if you have to be trained to do that. If so, then something like that must be hard. Whoa, Epona. Okay, back up a little bit. Okay, now we're at the Lakeside Laboratory, so let's give the eyeball frog to the scientist. Here we go. Oh, really? Why does the game always like to do this? Okay, let's see what he has to say. I haven't seen eyeball frog like this since Zora's domain froze over. I haven't seen eyeball frog at all. Well, up until this point, that is. Oh, what? He wants to eat the eyeballs? Eating eyeballs? That doesn't sound very appetizing to me, or very appealing, especially if you fry them. Okay, now he realizes that I want the eye drops instead. How do you know anyway? Because Link's a mute character, so yeah, I don't know how he could have found out that I want eye drops instead of him having to fry the eyeballs. Okay, I'm not really sure what he did to make the eye drops, but what's more important is he made it, and now it's in my possession, but I have to make it to Death Mountain in a certain amount of time before the eye drops go bad. Okay, will do. And with that, we got the world's finest eye drops. So, I have 4 minutes to get to Death Mountain and deliver it to Bigaron before it goes bad. Alright, hopefully I could do that. Okay, turn the pointer around. Also, get the camera behind me. Alright, go. Oh yeah, try not to go fast in this area because this hill that's over here, yeah, if you go fast from the get-go, then the opponent might stop and, yeah, you're gonna be delayed a little bit. Yeah, I learned that the hard way, and whenever that happens, that's really annoying. So yeah, don't go so fast, since, yeah, opponent might stop and she might move back a little bit. Okay, once you're out of that area, then I guess you can go fast as much as you want. So, since I'm on the verge of getting the Big Ron Sword, why don't I talk about it a little bit? So, the Big Ron Sword. It's twice as long as the Master Sword, it's twice as powerful as the Master Sword, but there's one drawback. You hold the Big Ron Sword with 2 hands, meaning you can't use the shield along with the Big Ron Sword. But there are ways that I could avoid taking damage even if I am holding the Big Ron Sword or not. Well, depending on what the enemy is, I could either get out of the way, or if I can L-target something, I could quickly take out my hook shot and then put up the shield. Yeah, that's a good strategy. Oh yeah, on the bridge here, try not to go fast because, once again, opponent might stop, and yeah, that's really annoying whenever that happens. Yeah, opponent's kind of unpredictable like that. So, yeah, sometimes you can stop in random places, whether it's that little hill that was back there at Lake Hylia, or the bridge that I just crossed. So yeah, the Big Ron Sword kind of reminds me of the Great Fairy Sword from Majora's Mask, except that you don't equip the Big Ron Sword to one of the C buttons. Yeah, I don't know whose bright idea that was. To me, it feels kind of awkward equipping a pretty powerful sword to one of the C buttons. To me, I think they had a chance to correct that in Majora's Mask 3DS, or rather the 3DS version of Majora's Mask, whatever, but they didn't do that. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't do that in the 3DS version, because yeah, I will admit, I do love using the Great Fairy Sword, but I would prefer if I could equip it when it's on the equipment screen, but that's not the case. Okay, so this shortcut here, yeah, this is a pretty good way to save some time. If I didn't have this shortcut, then I'm not really sure how much time I would have before the eye drops go bad. Okay, in this area, you want to be careful because, yeah, around this area, even if I do put up my shield, sometimes I still take damage from the volcanic eruptions. Okay, well that was close. Okay, just put up your shield and keep on going, so that way the volcanic eruptions don't hit you. Once again, you can whirl around in hopes that you don't take damage. But once again, you have to be right on target, and by that I mean your timing has to be correct. Okay, climb up the wall. Oh, I guess that's where that Tektite came from. I guess it came up above. Well, whatever. Okay, kill that wall Skulltula as well as this one. Yeah, sometimes I call them Skull Watchulas, but to me that sounds like a very weird name, so I usually call them Wall Skulltulas instead. Okay, made it to the top of Death Mountain with a minute to spare. Yeah, if I didn't have that shortcut, then maybe I would have less than 20 seconds left. I don't know. Alright, Big Ron, here are your eye drops. Okay, I love how he still puts emphasis on a whole lot of words. Alright, now get ready to hear the eye drops heard around the world. Oh yeah, I feel you. When I use eye drops, I would react the same way. Okay, now that his eyes are fully functioning again, he can now get to work on the Big Ron Sword. Although, I have to wait some time for it to be completed, like 3 days. So he's going to give me something called a claim check, so that way I won't forget. Alright, thank you very much. Now, within the 3 days that I'm going to have to wait, I could either do something else or play the Sun Song 6 times, so that way it'll be 3 days from now. Okay, just do your work. I'll be patient. Okay, I'm going to play the Sun Song 6 times, so that way the Big Ron Sword will be ready. See you then. Alright, big guy. Today is the day. But first, I have to show him the claim check. Then it's yours to keep. The claim check, that is. And with that, after all that work and trading, we got the big round sword at long last. And I'm going to start using it right now. Okay, if you'll just give me a second, I'm just going to equip it real quick along with the Deku Nuts. Alright, good. Now, before I go to the Forest Temple, I have to go to Lake Hylia for one small errand. I could have done this before when I was at the Lakeside Lab, but I couldn't since I was in the middle of the trading sequence, and I didn't want to waste time like that. So yes, I'm going to the Lakeside Lab because there's one more thing for me to do there. And it's a huge shame how the Serenade Water can't warp you closer to where the Lakeside Lab is. It has to be here since you're near the entrance to where the Water Temple is. Is that thing going to confront me? Looks like it is. Go away. Yeah, you'll get to see what the big round sword can really do once I get to the Forest Temple, which won't be until next video. Oh yeah, something about that enemy you should know. When it's nighttime at Lon Lon Ranch, you'll see a whole bunch of those things flying around. But if you kill a certain amount of those enemies, eventually you'll see a big variant of that enemy. I never once did this myself since I don't see any point in killing that enemy over and over again. So I'm just letting you know that it is possible to spawn a big variant of that enemy. Alright, what you want to do is you want to put on the iron boots and sink all the way to the bottom. Now before I continue, I want to show you something. Look at this. This guy has a shark inside of this cage. Why is this here? I have no idea. So what you want to do is you want to roll into this crate, revealing a gold sculpture, and you want to kill it with the hook shot. When you're underwater, the hook shot is your only means of offense. No sword, no bombs, just a hook shot. This isn't Twilight Princess where you're able to use your sword underwater as well as various items like, say, bombs or water bombs. In other Zelda games, I'm sure there are other means of offense when you're underwater. Okay, next stop, the Lost Woods. But I'm not going to enter the Forest Temple quite yet because there's one more thing that I want to do. I only have one fairy on me, and I would prefer if I had 3 fairies on me. Because if you remember, I had to release my other fairies early on because I had to use my bottles for the blue fire, so I'm just going to stop by the fairy fountain for a second and get some more fairies. Of course, there could be some fairies inside of the Forest Temple, but I'm not really sure where they are. If there are any fairies there, that is. Oh yeah, this moblin. When I last killed it, I said that you need 2 attacks with the Master Sword to kill it, although I don't think I was very specific at the time. What I meant to say was, you need 2 jump attacks with the Master Sword to kill it, but as you just saw, with the Big Round Sword, you only need 1 jump attack to kill it, which I like very much. Alright, kill that moblin there. Good thing it didn't spot me, otherwise it would have ran me into the water. Just a reminder, fairies restore your health regardless of how many hearts you have, even if you die. So I guess that's good, since in other Zelda games, I believe they only restore your health by up to 8 hearts. However, in Majora's Mask, I'm not really sure if that's true or not, whether or not they restore your health completely, because I never once killed myself to see if the fairies will completely revive me, regardless of how many hearts I have. But whatever. The fairies are free, so you might as well get them while you have the opportunity to do so. Okay, I believe that moblin, actually that first moblin I killed is back again, so I'm just going to have to kill it real quick. Yeah, I really love killing this moblin with the Big Round Sword, so much fun. Okay, avoid its shockwaves. Get behind it. And kill it. Also, this thing gives out a whole lot of money. Okay, 3 blue rupees, I guess that's good. Occasionally, it could give out 3 red rupees, which I guess is okay too. Alright, we finally made it to the Forest Temple, and we're going to be entering it next time.